So I'll call this meeting to order. I want to say welcome to everyone. And we are having our regularly scheduled meeting of the East Long Meadow Board of Library Trustees. It is now 6:05 p.m. according to the clock over there. And I want to just remind everybody or just state due to the Massachusetts general laws and so forth, that this meeting is both being video and audio taped for future broadcast on LCAT. So what I'd like to do, I always start on our left. If we can do roll call, please, Melanie.
Melanie Manheim.
Layla Johnston.
Diane Tiago.
Michael Gray.
Cindy McNaught.
All right. So our first order of business is the minutes of the January 16th meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to go through and comments, edits, anything you think needs to be addressed?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
I second that motion.
Okay. Any, obviously no discussions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. All right. Okay, we do not have any guests tonight, and so we'll go on to Layla's narrative report and her financial report.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Building maintenance, I have nothing to report at this time. Public services, we are currently participating in the Cradles to Crayons Pajama Donation Drive. New pajamas for children ages birth through teens are collected and distributed to local Department of Children and Families offices to be given to local youth experiencing displacement. Cradles to Crayons and the Boston Bruins sponsor the pajama drive annually, but donations are kept in Western Massachusetts to benefit our local DCF offices. The drive continues through March 15th, and anyone who donates a pair of pajamas will be entered in a contest to win a Charlie McAvoy signed hockey puck he plays for the Bruins. And Michelle, our children's librarian, updated me today before the meeting. We had a PJ story time last night.
Yeah.
We had 26 pairs of pajamas collected, and over 60 children and adults came to help
good.
support the cause. So it was, it was a great turnout. So we're really appreciative for that.
Yes.
On Saturday, February 23rd at 11 a.m., the library will host a genealogy workshop. That's this coming Saturday. Participants will learn the basics of family genealogy research using Ancestry Library Edition, a database that's available for use in the library. The instructor is Maureen LaBranche, a library patron who has years of experience researching her family history. Our Great Decisions adult discussion program is currently underway. The group meets twice a month on Tuesdays to talk about current events in politics and international relations. Discussion booklets can be picked up at the circulation desk. The next meeting will be held on March 5th at 6 p.m. If anyone plans to participate in the Trustees Book Award, please bring your donations to my office no later than March 20th. Conflict of interest, that's my next section here of the director's report. All members of boards and commissions are required to complete a Massachusetts Conflict of Interest training every other year. That's what 2019 is, where our year is up here. I have included the instructions for the training as well as the paperwork needed to submit in your packets. Please complete the training and submit your certificate to me at our board meeting to be held on March 20th. I will file the certificates of completion and then your signed conflict of interest receipt with the town clerk. It works best if you use the Firefox browser. And if you have questions or need help, you can always come to the library and do the training online on the second floor. And the staff working up there would be more than happy to help you print out your completed certificate when you're done. And so I included the link to the training. That's the online portion that you have to do at your own pace, on your own time. And the link is there, and the link is also in the email that I sent out to everybody with all, in case, so you don't have to hunt for it through documents and all of that. It's also right in the body of the message.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions about
No,
that?
it was
I do
great.
have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so Michael joined our board last year, so what happens is he must have had to do the conflict.
He
of
did, but
interest.
he has to just go ahead and do it again.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to
I know,
see how
I
that
know.
rotates, you know,
Oh, too bad,
oh
Michael.
darn.
Sorry.
That's gonna be another maybe hour that you can't ever get back. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Actually, it doesn't even take an hour, I
I'm
don't
worried
think,
about
but.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Really?
I just wanted to ask if it's okay with
Sure.
you. This would be the time to, ask her if she has if you have any questions of Layla, but I wanted to know if anyone on the board here is attending any of these great programs. That,
yet.
I know you said something about great decisions, and
Yeah.
I did not know.
I go to Great Decisions.
And
It's great.
great decisions are great.
It really is. It's there's a real nice group of people with different experience. I brought 2 friends last night, so they participated.
Oh.
Tim, who runs it, is really the nicest guy. And you learn something, and everybody expresses their opinion, and we get along great. So to anybody out there in TV land, it's a lot of fun. It's every other Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
So last night was about the Middle East.
Right.
Yeah.
Next week is on nuclear issues.
And do you have to read up on it ahead and then you come?
Well,
How do you
here's
do-
how it works. Okay.
Please.
There's a limited number of books here. You can check out a book, and there are these 8.5 by 11 books, and there's maybe 8 pages for each session that
Okay.
can kind of you can read and get some background, which is really cool. I mean, it's really well done. There's pictures and maps, and then you come in, and then you sit in there and watch a video for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. It's on a DVD, but we watch it on a big
Oh, yeah.
screen. So you see a DVD about the topic,
Thank you, friends, for that.
and then when it's over, Tim, kicks off the discussion, and we all just raise our hand and talk about different things, and everybody has different views, and it doesn't matter if you're like, Democrat or Republican, we all like each other, and everybody's pretty intelligent. Some people just don't say a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure they're learning, and they wouldn't be back if they didn't enjoy it. So, I like it a lot. I watch the news. So.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Try to do that.
Yeah. And I'm going to be going to the Ancestry
Oh,
on
great.
Saturday.
Oh.
What I'm trying to do, or I'm going to recommend to the board, now that we've gotten some things, business taken care of, that if you have time to participate in any of these programs that you're interested in, it would be great to have trustees there and kind of be supportive of the staff as well for kind of picking these items out and in bringing them into the community, and that way we can gauge too, and get
Feedback
get
from the
some, yeah,
community.
some information maybe from the community.
That's a
They
good
did
idea.
like this, they don't like that, but I figure we're the avenue here,
Yeah.
and for communication. So it'd be great if,
Yeah,
I
we're
think
sort
it's-
of like liaisons from
Well-
the community to the library, and a lot of people will tell you things that they might not be afraid, that they might be afraid to say to staff or something.
yeah,
Mhm.
So I think that is a great idea.
well, sometimes they
Once
come,
everybody's
sometimes they come.
healthy.
But it's just, great to know that
It
you're
is.
you're enjoying it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
others are too. So anyway, all right. So I just wanted to check with you on that. I also wanted to, because I'm kind of been a little wrapped up in my own little world. I went to cover, and I see that we have a new library assistant at the circulation desk. I did not know that we were, that there was a need to begin with, and so that was kind of nice. I went there, and I also learned don't ask me where I learned. We've got another computer, which I was thrilled to hear.
Yeah, the third workstation.
Yes, which was one of the things that I was interested in for a long time, because we knew when the building was coming together, that 2 just wasn't enough. So I'm very happy to see
Great.
another computer
Yeah,
to
that's
help with
And where is it?
in the circulation, to help with the
It's in
check
the
on
lower, the handicapped accessible area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it helps with the checkouts and so forth. It keeps people moving.
And it's also, if you have mobility issues, those
can sit.
stand-up
Are too high.
desks are way too high.
They were
Yeah,
too
yeah.
high
So,
for normal people.
yeah.
Yeah.
There are some short people in the
So-
world.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Not you, Michael.
just giving
Yeah.
staff and you credit for seeing
Yeah,
that
the need.
the need for that, and that you followed through on that.
Great,
And
thank you.
you're very, very welcome. So anyway, so those were my positive remarks.
Well, that's good.
Well, I just did not know if others knew it, and I just felt that
Yeah,
we need to,
we should know that.
yeah,
Pass it along.
yes, absolutely. Okay, so, excuse me, to continue on was your,
Well, that was it for my narrative
Yeah,
report. So unless anyone has any questions, I can move to the financial.
Do we have to accept the report?
Do we
Just
want-
go and move on?
we can do that, because the financial really isn't under our purview.
Anyway.
So, anyway, so if somebody would, make a motion
I'll make a
to,
motion to accept the director's report.
And I will second.
okay.
I'm
And,
getting real good at that.
Taxi.
and all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
Yeah, if you want to just take a look at the numbers I've got here on the abbreviated financial report, you can ask me any questions you might have.
Good shape.
Yeah. Very good. Now, when will, here's the, I've got to ask a question. Now, when we received the other half, or we have
No,
not?
we have not yet.
Okay.
No.
All right. So
And we
that's
probably won't until April.
April? Okay, and I'm referring to the state
State
aid.
aid.
The saving.
Okay.
Yeah, we've received our first payment, but not the second.
And most of this goes to help pay for CW Mars,
Yes,
is that correct?
that's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
And it covers it pretty much, does it?
For now.
Right, I know,
Is it-
because they were gonna go.
Assessments are always going up, and then what we actually receive has been pretty flat.
Yes,
So-
I know that. But so far, it's covering it.
So far it has, yeah.
That's good. Every year's another
Yeah.
challenge, I know.
Yeah.
Is there anything like in our strategic plans that can help with monies, or grants that come available?
Yeah, we have, with the strategic plan being on file with the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners, that opens us up to apply for what are called Library Service and Technology Act grants, or LISTA grants. Those are announced annually, and those are all administered by the MBLC. They really want those grants to be used for innovative projects. So anything new and innovative. So we'll say, for example, STEM programming, science, technology, engineering, math. It can be looked at as kind of seed money if you were going to start, we'll say, an after-school program. I'm just making this up, by the way.
Yes,
This
yes,
is
yes,
not
yes.
just flying Okay.
No.
Don't ask me next meeting. So did you apply for that STEM grant? I'm just making this up.
No, but that's the purpose.
Yes.
The fund.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very
this is
quick
this is an example.
So they're not really looking to fund a shortfall in the
Correct. That is right.
CWRs thing.
That is right. The money is not meant to offset, let's say, a shortfall in town revenue or something like that. It's meant to provide startup funding for something new and innovative. And then we have to keep track of that, report back, et cetera, et cetera. Those are usually around I would say they're around $10,000, and they have a 1-year time frame.
Limit, yeah.
Mhm.
And so are there any grants that may be used to cover operating expenses?
Not usually, no. Not that I'm aware of.
You haven't found any?
No. Now, for things like equipment
Yes.
or other types of expenditures,
That's
yes.
not.
But operating, most grant awarding
Won't do that.
organizations do not want to cover operating expenses
Sure.
because that should come from your
The town,
appropriation.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay. So when you say equipment, are you talking like computer equipment?
Usually.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Good clarification on
And
that.
there's some grants that you can get from different businesses that might support different types of programming.
We ask the local businesses here to help us with summer reading, and they are
Oh, yeah, they're
very
awesome.
generous.
They're awesome.
Yeah, very, very generous with helping us
Yeah.
provide the prizes and
Well,
big
there's a-
programs and things like
There's
that.
a
So.
lot of children that are served. I
Yes.
mean, there's almost 1,200 children
Correct.
that are in that program, and I mean, if you figure out, sometimes, $1 a child is not very much.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to get considerably more from the Friends and from businesses and from different fraternal organizations.
Right.
Like the Masons and whatnot. And also some individuals who donate some of the gifts.
That's right.
Or will donate with no strings attached almost, to be used as is appropriate.
Yeah.
So that's so helpful.
It is.
All right. Is there any other questions or any communications or anything like that? Well,
No, not
I
tonight.
thought what I wanted to add to our agenda for in the future was like a line for correspondence or communications or something, or question answer period. Just
Okay.
just as a
Yeah.
just so that we have a little bit more I don't know, maybe off the cuff kind of questions.
Or like if you've received any positive communications or offers of suggestions
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
new innovative,
Mm-hmm.
not just programs, but something that might make operations smoother for
Yeah.
somebody or some people.
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but I mean, one time we had kind of a sticky situation where somebody
had
didn't
several.
like they weren't happy with one of the books up in.
We've had
in the-
several.
Yeah. So what happens is that would be the time to kind of like, how's everything going? Any communications, positive, negative.
Well, I would put that in my report for you. That would be something I would report on anyway in my report.
Yeah.
I mean, we could definitely add a correspondence section if you want to. We don't have any correspondence. I would bring it to you
Yeah.
if we did, but yeah, I would definitely report on. I would put that in my report.
Okay.
But
For
it
everybody.
doesn't just have to be written. Maybe somebody called and said, gee, I went to this library and they had this. Is that a possibility? Or somebody might have said that to somebody else and then it gets to you or through development or so it's always kind of nice to try to be on the cutting edge of what's happening in the library world.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually are, I must say.
Whatever happened to that board game situation? You were buying some board games, and there was one of your librarians was interested in having board game nights and all that. Did that?
We have games that we circulate here.
Okay.
They do different programs.
Yeah, the
sometimes.
games
Yeah.
and puzzles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we don't have a drop-in. You run our chess for us,
Yeah.
of course. But we don't have a drop-in games night, no. But it might be something we would do in the future.
We have in the past done some things.
Yeah, I know they tried to do it, and they had a few meetings. I just wondered if it just dropped away, or.
Yeah.
I mean, are you looking for more games to add to the library?
Well, we always appreciate donations. It just.
Do they have to be 5 years old?
No, we don't have a time limit on the games can be published at any time. How's that?
I could add a wing here,
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh
You
my
probably have historic examples and all kinds of, yeah.
was down at the Springfield Museums, and that was one of their items that's on
Was it
display right now. It's-
Toytopia.
oh, God, I was back in heaven and going, oh, yeah, I remember getting that for Christmas,
Oh,
you know, as a kid. But it's a great thing. And there was I said, geez, I don't see where they say Milton Bradley. Everything was Hasbro. The sign was Hasbro. And I go, oh, wait a minute. I better see Milton the name
Yeah, the
Milton
Milton
Bradley.
Bradley and Parker Brothers brands are gone.
Yeah, but they
Isn't
did
that
have
amazing?
some
Sad.
old boxes, you know,
Right.
like
Yes,
the
they
cover
do.
box that said Milton Bradley on
Right.
it. But yeah, so I was like, oh boy, does that
Doesn't
take
seem
me
like
back
that
in time?
long ago.
I know, it was just yesterday. Well, listen, I'm gonna get back to our agenda here.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to new business. So this was an item that Layla wanted to bring to our attention, and it's our bylaws.
Yeah, so it's a good idea for the trustees just to review their bylaws every few years. We did do this back in October of 2017.
Okay.
And that was triggered by, of course, the change in town government. Almost all boards and commissions then had to review their own bylaws and make updates and adjustments accordingly because the governance structure changed. Related to that, with the change in governance structure, and I discussed it briefly with Diane, I checked in with the town manager to see how often other boards and commissions are meeting, because our meetings have been fairly brief. Sometimes I don't have any policy work for the meetings. This meeting, for example, we don't have any policy reviews or updates on the agenda. So what other boards and commissions have done is they have reduced the number of meetings that they're having. DPW meets quarterly and then has a provision in their bylaws for special meetings so that they can meet more frequently if they need to. They can call a special meeting. It's in this body states that we will meet monthly. So if we wanted to take a look at changing when the meetings are, it's here under, so where did it go? Yeah, it's Article 6, meetings. Regular meetings, the Board of Trustees shall meet monthly at a posted place, date, and time. So the wording of that would have to be revised so that we could then reduce our meeting schedule. I don't want to waste anyone's time, is my biggest concern. I know this takes a lot of time for everybody to devote to, reading all the stuff that I send out and coming to the meeting itself and structuring your schedules and your busy lives around that. And I just think it's something we should take a look at with reducing the number of meetings that we have per year. I definitely think we can be on target with meeting all of the business that needs to be taken care of with fewer meetings, but that has to be a discussion from all of you. And of course, David couldn't make it
David's not
tonight.
Yeah.
And we'll put it on the agenda now, and this way we keep it on the agenda for several months to discuss how do we want to, move forward with this.
if
But
we want to or not.
the main thing is that I don't have enough business to justify monthly meetings for everybody. And I don't want to waste people's time, and I don't want to rack my mind creating busy work either for people who have, this is a volunteer organization. Everybody is devoting their time and their energy, and
Yeah, we don't look at it as busy work. I look at it as not just, checking over policy and making and long-range plans and things like that. But I look at it also as a way to communicate with the community and to be a liaison to the community and to be an advisory sounding board if there are new ideas to float forward or look at, and to keep abreast of what's happening in this fabulous resource that we have. I mean, this town has this amazing resource, and it's available to anybody from birth through the later senior years, and to the business community.
Right.
And I feel, we came on the board to to keep the passion for the library going, and to help it to move forward in a positive direction. And even if we met to say, hey, things are going great, and what do you think of this, or what do you think of that, and have a way to communicate, at least everybody knows every month what's happening here. So I look at it that way more, and I don't think you have to create busy work, so to speak. I don't know, and that's just my immediate reaction.
I guess because there's such a change is
there's been a change in the town. And
Yeah.
People, a lot of people are struggling with that change.
Yeah.
And I think that we as a board, or any of the boards, can be a conduit to help smooth that change over and make that transition easier. But I don't know about the other boards, but as far as this board's concerned, I feel that that's an important role that we play. I just my humble opinion.
I'll just kind of kick in a little bit,
kick.
just a little bit. I guess when I read the description, when they were looking for a library trustee, one of the words was custodian and so forth. So it's like being a guardian of the library here, and it was very, very clear that we came under the Massachusetts general laws and so forth. So I looked at the wording of the Massachusetts general laws, and it's very clear, you are in, you have this role and so forth. And therefore we're come under the open meeting laws. So the big thing that everybody keeps talking about is transparency. Now, I don't know how the other departments are or boards are in what, if they come under any kind of Massachusetts rules or and so forth. But I do know that when the charter did go through and so forth, I mean, one of the wordings was in there was that we were to still fulfill the duties of the federal or Massachusetts, I'm saying this not quite right, but let me see.
The law is stated.
Yeah, I want to. So what it basically said we still have that responsibility because we did still come under, was it Chapter
78 is what governs libraries.
Yeah.
But we can do that with fewer meetings. We can be transparent and get all of our business done.
Are you thinking bi-monthly or quarterly?
Yeah, what are you thinking?
What's your thought?
Quarterly or every other month. I mean, that's, because we can still fulfill all of those duties. You can fulfill your duty as an advisory board or with fewer meetings. There's nothing in the general law that stipulates when you would have to meet, and it defers to the charter most of the time. You're the governing board, except when stated otherwise by charter is what usually it says. So, but again, we're just starting this discussion. This is not something we're going to figure out tonight.
Everybody should be here.
Everyone should be present, and
there will be someone new coming on.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah.
And they should be aware of it as well.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
So I tend to,
But I don't think you should feel pressure to have to always say, oh, what am I going to do now? But you do.
I do. I strongly do, because I cannot report to you some of the things that were reported in the past. For example, the new hire, that doesn't have anything to do with the trustees as a governing body anymore.
Not as a governing body, but it would to the community to know who's working here. in terms of that, and that's what I was alluding
I was,
to. Not
that
to
wasn't,
say,
Yeah.
what did you hire this one for?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
Right.
No, no, no,
anything
no.
like that. I was just alluding to the fact that people should know who's serving them.
Mhm.
So that would just be another piece of the puzzle for here to be up to date, is
Right.
what you're saying.
That's, well, you know,
Oh.
the board never had anything to do with personnel anyway.
No, we never did.
Never
Even
never
under
did.
the old
Even
system.
under, yeah,
Not
that
I
was
knew of.
always, no, that was,
The only thing it had to do with was the library director,
that was it,
and that was
Right.
the only one.
yeah,
So
But it's-
that's pretty much what has changed.
you know.
And I think it's more advisory than it was
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah,
I think those are the big changes.
Right.
But I hear where you're coming from, what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I mean, the policy part is very important, you know, having that policy oversight
Yeah.
from trustees is a requirement, and that's very, very important. Importance doesn't mean that I am gonna have enough policy review every single month.
No.
right, no,
You
no,
know,
I
yeah.
think we
We
understood
know
Yeah.
that.
that.
And I just think that, I'm throwing this out here, Layla.
Mhm.
For about, well, let's see. Came on 15. So about for 3 years now, because, you know, we had the director that retired and so forth. So we were kind of like in a limbo situation where we couldn't really do anything and so forth. And, you know, and then we finally got a permanent director. So we were playing catch up and
Yeah.
so forth. So, and then we were dealing with the new governance. So we
Right.
had to catch up with that as well. So I think for the past, you know, year and a half, couple of years, that's why we've been so busy. I think
It has been
busy,
busy, yes.
and
Yeah.
so forth. But that's not the norm.
That was not the norm before.
That was not the norm before. It was just
It was a lot of reading and
See?
looking through
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
making sure that it was up to date.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, but I do think that the director's report is important.
Yes.
And you know, just with different news of what goes on in the library with different
Because
the
people
communication
sometimes
process.
ask us things,
Well,
you know, about that. I personally want to make sure I'm giving the proper information and conveying the what's happening here. Somebody says, "Gee, I haven't seen any programs," and I can say, "Well,
Wait a minute.
we have this and this and this, you know, and this is fabulous." And
Yeah.
we have somebody who went to it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
or
Yes.
in terms of the children's programs,
I think-
exactly what they do.
Some months I think the director's report will be lengthy, and I think
Some
you know
months
other
are.
months it's going to just be sparse,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
You know
I
what?
think
Mhm.
you know it doesn't have to be fancy.
I had this happen to me a year ago, or over a year ago. I had a woman who came up to me, and she was all concerned because she saw perfectly good upholstered furniture in the dumpster in the back there. And so she was upset, my taxpayer dollars, my this, my that, my that. And I'm going, what is she talking about? What is she talking about? And I go, have you been, you know, do you come in and, because it was adult, do you go up to the second floor or, and so forth. And it's like basically she'd come, she'd pick up her books, they'd be on hold and so forth, and never been upstairs. So it was like, calm you down here. What happens is the furniture's like 13 years old. And so
Well used.
it was very well used. The, you know, was splitting and the stuffing was coming out, and you know, so it was nice to be able to have that answer for her. And once she was like, oh, well, I didn't know that. I said, trust me, no department in town would ever get rid of any good furniture. You know, it just would not happen. But she was concerned about it. So it's just kind of nice to know. It's like, well, let me just, we are updating, we're getting some new furnishings, the table in the conference room have had better days or what have you, the legs are rocking and rolling or falling off and so forth. Just, not that I have any control over that, that's not my territory, and I understand that, but it's just kind of nice to know, so that when I do have somebody approach me, it's like, oh, please, have no fears. Trust me, or the director and the town manager, they want to make sure that everything is proper and so forth, and they feel it's best. It's just best to get some new furnishings or and so forth. Things were falling apart. So that's basically. I don't expect a super duper long narrative by the director, but we certainly need to look at it and have David
And be aware of what's happening.
Yeah, that's all. And I guess they're
Already
salting.
sanding.
They're salting
Yeah.
the roads to
Sanding the
get us
roads.
ready tonight.
Oh,
So
boy.
anyway, so
There we
there's
go.
so that so that was my thoughts as far
Did you
as
have any more input about that?
yeah.
No, because we're going to talk about this probably for several months. So
Oh,
this is just
okay.
to get the ball rolling,
Okay.
have people thinking.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really don't have the volume of work that necessitates monthly meetings for everybody.
Okay.
So, but we'll talk about it some more. David will want to weigh in.
Yeah.
The new person will want to weigh in when they start to, and but I do recommend reducing how many meetings we have. Yeah,
All right.
and that's also from the town manager as well.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. Is there any old business?
No.
No. Okay. Other business. Library friends.
Okay, so the Friends of the Library, we just had the chocolate sampling here at the library, which was delicious.
Missed it.
So that was on Saturday, February 9th from 1 to 3. They did have a good outcome, so I do have some of the numbers for you. 20 Friends members attended. So
Does that
you know
include
that they
the
didn't,
cooks?
yeah, no.
Oh,
Um,
good.
So 20 Friends members attended, 49 people paid. One new member joined on the spot, and one renewed their membership at the door.
That's
So I thought that was a pretty good.
That's a great turnout.
Yeah,
We
the
had
desserts were
it was.
delicious.
It was
I
a
know
really
some of
good.
them, were very chocolatey, every single one of them. Also, the outdoor summer collection will be starting again soon in May, June area. So if anybody has any games that they would like to, outdoor lawn games that they'd like to donate, they can do so. And Monday, March 4th at 7 p.m., they will have their next meeting here at the library. And they're always looking for new members to join the Friends Board of Directors. And that's all I have for right now.
They do meet monthly.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
they do meet monthly.
They
But I
do.
know that the chocolate sampling was a great turnout.
Oh,
So
it was.
That's good.
The
Laura.
first woman that came in the door, she said, I came, I want some of that. so there's certain dishes we know that we better come up with or else. Okay. So you're all set with your news there, Melanie?
Yep, that will be it.
Okay. A legislative breakfast took place February 8th over at the Stores Library.
No, I'm sorry I couldn't get it.
Hey, that's how what happens. But I can tell you, Michael, just if you've never been, they give you a ton of handouts, and so forth, about what's going on at a glance, this at a glance, that at a glance, and so forth. I guess the big story has been that there's certain line items in the budget that hasn't reached the highest point that was allocated. As for an example, state aid to regional libraries, the appropriations for 2019 was 41% below the highest allocation ever, which was back in 2002.
Ooh.
Okay, so the 17 years later, and
Things are more expensive. and
okay,
we're
well,
getting
that's
more.
just it, and so forth. Let's see, state aid to public libraries, which is what
We depend
we
on.
seem to, we're dependent on, it says it's 3% below the highest allocation, which is in 2009.
Oh, gosh.
And then the library technology and resource sharing is 36% below the highest allocation, which took place in 2001. And that's why it's kind of, important that we keep advocating for the needs of the libraries, our libraries in the state. I took a look, there's what the MBLC has proposed for a budget versus what the governor's proposed budget is. And what happens is the difference between the two is over $2 million apart. Okay, so, we need our friends, we need our advocates. It's good to go to these breakfasts and meet some of our legislators.
And we need to really tell our story much stronger.
Yeah, yeah,
We just, as a group, I think, are innately hesitant to toot our own horn and to put forth what's a small part of the budget we actually receive, and how much we do with that small piece of the pie, and how everyone at some point in their life is dependent on that or will benefit from it. And that's where one of the cornerstones of our democracy is access to information for all.
yes.
And I don't think we tell our story nearly strong enough.
Yeah, and of course, I think the library does a super duper job of having the connection with education. And it seems like the education, everybody thinks that's the schools,
That's the education.
that's the education. That's the education. And they don't realize that there's, I'll call it like an octopus arm,
branches off.
and so forth. And what happens is it comes to the library. Whatever's going on in school,
This supplements that.
what happens is their students. Well, I'm going to use East Long Meadow. The students end up coming to the library for either additional help or books or
even for tutoring.
tutoring. Well, I just am absolutely amazed at what this staff provides.
Me too.
It's overwhelming to me how many individuals there are in the school system, and how few people there are in the library to try to help the education of all the children. That's
it's
just
not
the
just of
children.
the
That's
children.
just the children.
It's also of adults who want to better themselves.
That was my next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're stealing my
That's the
line.
next chapter.
You're stealing my line.
That was the
That's
beginning chapter, then we go to the next chapter.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we start with the infant, and then, even after the college or what have you, we help people or I say we, I mean, the staff, help people if they want to do a resume, for jobs and so forth. It's just so amazing to see how little the piece of pie is for the libraries. And
It's actually, people would be astounded at how little it is.
So as far as the money goes, is it all about like throwing your hand up and talking to the politicians about the importance of libraries?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that it, or
Not just, but.
And it's like, so when they're in this area, we go talk to them. If it's here, maybe, I don't know,
Well-
at stores, whether it's Long Meadow and East Long Meadow, or if other,
Each year
is Agawam and other
It
people come
rotates
around.
It rotates around.
And then, if they're good enough to come and have breakfast with librarian, that's pretty much what it is.
Every,
Then they know what they're in for.
yeah. Yeah.
And then, say you make an impression on them.
Hmm.
You know, they're going to different libraries. I mean, I think Store's library is a lot different than this library as far as
Absolutely.
the plant or whatever you call it. The building is nice and stuff. I don't know. I love it here. But then how do you lobby for your share? I mean, how does the state decide, we're going to give East Long Meadow this much, and, you know, Long Meadow's roof is falling in, so we're going to give them more. You know, I'm making that up, but
You mean
Yes.
what portion do they deserve or what they
yeah,
get?
how do
Like
you
a percentage?
how do you
Is that-
lobby for your slice of the pie? Do
Well,
you do that?
lobby for libraries in general.
General.
And there's different line item budgets for libraries, like the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. And then, pretty much from that, a lot is where the state aid comes in. The money for the library is allocated by your local government.
Mhm.
You know, so the town of East Long Meadow says, well, the library will get 1.5% of the total budget of the town. You know, and the fire department gets X amount of percentage of the budget.
But the
So-
state
so
aid, where does that go?
That,
Does that come right to
again,
here?
you have to
Or does it go to
fulfill
the
certain
town?
requirements, and that comes into the town for the library.
So that is by law held in a separate account
Account.
that is only used for
the
library
It can't be used for any other
purposes.
department.
Mhm.
And the
Correct.
town holds it.
Yes,
So
the
if the
town
state
holds it.
gives money to the town,
In for the
In a
does the
purpose.
separate
town
account.
give all of it to the library, or do they
Yes,
sort of give
they have
part
to.
of it to the library?
By law, they are
They have
required
to
to
give it
allow,
all.
to allow the library to use that specific state aid funding for library purposes, yeah.
It's, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, that is also in the Massachusetts general laws.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, it's.
There's no wiggle room.
it's
It
earmarked
There's
is
no-
what it is.
for the
So,
Yeah.
so
library in
my
that.
It's mandated
my
by law.
question was, does somebody in Boston sit down and go, East Long Meadow has a
Yeah, there's
library, and they have a
formulas.
library,
Yeah.
and then here's how much they get.
They follow formulas for all of
Yes.
that. It's based on population, based on circulation, and I don't know the rest of the funding formulas because I'm not doing that, but your population served, so we're in the 16,000 range, and then your circulation, whether it's people who have East Long Meadow as their residence, or let's say they live in Springfield, we are then compensated through state aid 6
serving
cents
the
per
other
transaction. You know,
So if
something
we
like
want
that.
more
How much
money,
per transaction?
Something like 6
16
cents.
Per-
For, you know, let's say, like I live in Springfield. But if I use the library here, because my home library is Springfield, anytime I check anything out from East Long Meadow, we are then compensated. That cost is an offset. A small amount of the cost is,
You know,
yeah.
and the same thing happens in other towns. So,
Mhm.
Right.
so if you went to Long Meadow and checked out a book that they
It
were
kinda
giving out.
balances
so,
out,
but
right?
my,
Mhm.
I
Oh,
guess my
absolutely.
point is, if it's all done by a formula,
Mm-hmm.
you know, short of having more people in the town or checking more books out, then there's not a whole lot that people from here can do to necessarily get more money.
Oh yeah,
from
there
it.
is.
yes.
Yeah, if you attend these breakfasts like Diane was talking about, because what happens is that legislators are going to listen to their constituents. It's one thing for me as library director to go in and say libraries are important. Well,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. You might have a bias.
however, let's say Cindy's granddaughter
Goes and
approaches her legislator, which I've seen some really powerful legislative breakfasts that do this, that have, you know, an 8-year-old child stand up and say,
Wow.
because the library has computers, I can do my school assignment or that kind of thing.
Because we can't afford one at home.
Exactly. And so it's very important that legislators, who are the ones that are in the end, determining, the governor has his agenda, and then legislators are able to,
Make a case.
Yeah,
yeah.
So we need to give them the ammunition
Yeah.
to make our case.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And they have to go back and say, gee, I think this is underfunded. I didn't realize this is exactly what this line does. They don't always know what that
Yeah.
line does.
yeah.
So who does the programming of the breakfast and sets up the schedule
Whoever's
and all the
hosting.
presentations?
Whichever library is the host, they
Yeah.
will contact that area's,
Legislators.
yeah, there's one coming up in Amherst. Comerford is the legislator up there, and so that will involve, Franklin County legislators there as well.
Well, I
But they
thought
all
you
go
might be
back and
happy
vote
to
on the
know.
budget.
I thought you might be happy to know that the chair of the library caucus is our very own Eric Lesser.
Ha! Very good.
I was just at his office today just to go in and
Yeah.
just remind him we're here, and some other business too that I wanted.
And we're
to
very
remind him.
fortunate. We do have some legislators in our area that are very, very strong library supporters.
Yeah.
And realize exactly what we do. It's not just, well, we don't, you can get books on Amazon, you can do this, you can do that, and they don't, some of them don't understand the totality
Yeah.
of the resources and the richness of the resources that are available at a fraction of a cost. So a lot of our legislators have been pretty supportive.
Yeah.
They,
They're very supportive.
Yes,
They're very,
exactly.
is it Angelo Pupolo?
oh yeah,
Oh,
Angela's
oh, oh,
always there.
Very, very supportive, so forth. And who is it, like over in West Springfield,
Welch.
Welch.
Oh yeah, he's very supportive
He,
too.
he's very strong and so forth too. If there's already 3 of us signed up to go take one more leap is to go to the State House.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just to let you know, let me see where did I put it. There is a legislative day in Boston, which is going to take place on, let me see, legislative day, it's on March 5th.
I can bring it up.
March
March.
5th.
March 5th?
It's a
did you say?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's all day at the State House. Yeah, Tuesday, March 5th.
yep. So, and what we're going to do is, it's Laura and Jody O'Brien and myself. We're going to take, it's Western Mass Library Advocates. They kind of coordinate, and there's going to have
have a
locations where you can catch a bus. And for us, the best locations are in Palmer. The bus will pick up in West Springfield, Palmer, and
Okay.
Auburn. So the best location for us is to go to the Palmer Library and pick up the bus there for 8:15
Mm-hmm.
and go there. And so this will be. This is just another step. I've always gone to the most.
There's a cost to that, but I'm not,
It's
Oh, it was
$20.
huh?
The bus.
If you're a senior.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
See, not that I'm mentioning it.
Senior crowd, okay.
Can't go. I gotta wait.
Well, in that case, you have to pay 20.
So if you're a senior, it's 10?
10. If you're a senior, I mean, it's such a deal. Just the bus ride there, you're saving yourself,
Absolutely.
and parking and so forth.
Right.
So, yeah, it's $10. Here it is. I knew I had it somewhere. There, okay.
Yeah.
So it's all in there, and who to make your check payable to if you decide to go. But for $10, you couldn't even drive into Boston and park your
Right.
car for that. So it's worth it to do that.
Who's it payable to?
I'll pass this
Oh,
on.
okay.
It's to the Western Mass
Oh,
Library. So
okay.
okay, WMLA. And basically, that's just paying for your transportation. And I'm not quite sure about, like, lunch, if there's,
I think we used to just go out.
Do-
and have
was it
lunch, I
just-
think,
Yeah,
when we were
I've gone several times
Yeah,
to
I've gone to a
the,
few
but
times,
yeah,
too.
you're on your own for.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought. But I better remember, I better write down what time I have to be back,
Yeah.
2:45. Georgia's got a long way to come get me.
The bus leaves at 2:45 from
Boston.
from Boston. Okay, so you're getting back at a reasonable hour.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, and I just received this morning, let's see, is that there's a Massachusetts Library Trustee Institute. It's gonna take place, it's an all-day affair on Saturday, April 27th, from 9:30 to 3. It's in Worcester. It says the AC Hotel at 125 Front Street in Worcester. And the focus is on advocacy, which is an essential role of all library trustees. The keynote speaker will be Kathy Cromer, Associate Executive Director of the American Library Association, Washington office. And the funding for the program is through federal funds provided by the Institute of Museum and Library Services and administered by the MBLC. Additional funding is provided by the Massachusetts Library Trustees Association. So anyway, so that's in April. Well, and so we'll have more time to even pick up on this. But I mean, it was just a message that I received because I'm on one of those, there's like an email list for trustees. So I automatically get certain information. So that was what I wanted to let you know about.
Thank you.
Okay. And the only other item for me personally was just to let you know that in April we're going to do a little thank you ceremony for any departing trustees and so forth. And I have contacted our Ginny to make sure that she would be able to join us that evening, and included her, I said, your family and so forth. And at first she was just kind of, nobody likes a big fuss.
Sure.
But anyway, I said, listen, your grandson and all your relatives are going to be so proud of you. I said, because nobody else has reached this type of pinnacle, and so forth in the years of service, to the community. So I'm looking forward to a nice evening. Ben, we've got plenty of time between now and then anyway, but I just wanted to let you know, I wanted to make sure it was good to go before we went any further.
Yep.
Okay. And is there anything else from anybody else? Okay. No. All right. So our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, March 20th at 6 p.m. And if I can have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn
Okay.
this delightful meeting.
Michael's going to second it?
I will second the motion to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.